I forgot to film the intro to this vlog, but this vlog is already so long, so let's make it quick. As you can tell in this video, I read some of the lowest rated books on my TBR, and it was quite a roller coaster. Just some disclaimers, I did have some problems with my mic throughout this video, but I tried my best to fix all of those issues. And also this vlog takes place over like 3 weeks maybe, and like the transitions make no sense. So just bear with me. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoy it, and let me take you to a few weeks back when I was deciding what to read for this vlog. Okay, hi. It is Saturday evening and tomorrow I'm going away for 3 days because there's a holiday on Tuesday, so I thought I would just on Monday work from my family's little cottage summer house thingy that we have like an hour and a half away from Warsaw. So before I go there, I need to figure out what my TBR is. So let's look at Goodreads, and I'm going to open the tab Want to Read, and oh yeah, it's already started from the average rating. So the first thing here is Nothing by Blackened by Cassandra Khaw. That is a very low rating, 2.69. Wow, this is a horror novella. I do know, oh my god, I didn't tell you even the rules, because like I'm going to read the lowest rated books on my TBR, right? But the way I'm going to like select my TBR is whether I either have this book on a physical TBR or if I can find it on script, so that I don't have to buy anything, you know? So Nothing But Blackened Teeth is on script, and I think the audiobook is like 2 hours long, so this is a contender. Then I don't remember what this is. But Mrs. March is... what would you say that is? A mystery thriller? But that's almost like on the literary fiction side, and I've wanted to read it for some time. So there's that, 3.25. I do know this is on script, both as an audiobook and as an ebook, so that's great. So far I don't have anything physically. The Disaster Tourist is also something I really wanted to read. Also, it's going to be really hot in the next few days, so might as well read The Disaster Tourist. Okay, let me open everything that I'm interested in. Okay, the first thing that I do have on my physical TBR that is here is The Ensemble, but I don't think I'm going to read it now. I'm just not really in the mood. I do think it's about a young classical musician, and it's literary fiction. It's quite long, I think. I mean, definitely over 400 pages, but not super long, but yeah. And The Woman in the Library. I didn't know this would be here. 3.5, that's not that low, but this is the book that I have on my physical TBR that I would definitely like to bring with me. So we have 4 things, and 2 of them are like mystery/thrillers. The Woman in the Library and Mrs. March. And that doesn't surprise me, because I feel like thrillers tend to have low rating, but can get very low ratings because it's mostly about the like twists and the ending, and if people don't like them, I feel like they're more likely to give it a very low rating. I wonder if The Woman in the Library people didn't like because it was like a story within a story, and I've heard it's very meta, so you might like it if you are familiar with the like mystery genre. So you might enjoy it more if you know what the author is referencing or something like that. I'm not sure. So honestly, 4 things. I'm not sure about Nothing But Blackened Teeth, but I definitely want to read The Disaster Tourist. Yeah, she works for... well, wait, this is also technically a thriller. Eco-thriller. Interesting. Yeah, she works in a travel company specializing in vacation packages to destinations devastated by disaster and climate change. And then she goes to one of those locations. So yeah, those are the books. That's my TBR. We'll see if I will read them all, but hopefully I will. And yeah, we'll see if I agree with the people and if those books are really that bad. Let's go. Okay, hello. You are getting this update live from a forest because I am in that little cottage with my mom and grandma, and I am too shy to, record an update in that cottage. So I went to a forest nearby, and hopefully you can hear me. It's not really windy, it's really hot today, like there's 35 degrees Celsius. And yeah, I had to pin back my bangs because it was far too hot to have bangs today. I wish I could put the camera somewhere, but I'm not sure. Okay, give me a second. Oh my god, it's so hot. Oh, okay. Will this work? I feel like I'm very bright, but we'll have to deal with that. So, also when I told my mom that I was going to the forest for a little walk, she looked at me as if I told her I am going to my death sentence. Like, I am still very close to the cottage. So, hopefully she wasn't right and I'm not about to get murdered. It's the middle of the day. Okay, let me do an update because, as you probably saw, I started The Woman in the Library by Sulari, Gentill, and listen, I think I'm with the general public on this one. Like, I am not enjoying it. And here's the thing, this was the book that had the highest rating. It was like, I think the rating was like 3.5 or something. So it's not that bad, but I understand where the lower ratings are coming from, where the people that give this book a lower rating are coming from. So it's going to be quite hard to explain what this book is about, because every time I heard someone like say the synopsis of this book, I was like, huh? Because it is quite meta and it is a story within a story. So let me set the scene. Let's start with the overall story and then we'll get to the story within the story. So we have two authors, Leo and Hannah, who are writing emails to each other, and Hannah is more of an established author, while Leo is struggling a bit more. He wrote a book, but currently he is trying to get it published. And Hannah is writing her next book. And basically, we don't see Hannah's emails, we only see Leo's answers, but through Leo's answers, we find out that she's sending him chapters of her new novel. So that's the story within the story. The book that she's writing, we are reading. So far so good, right? There's some more meta things in this book, but I'm not even going to like get into it. So we get those emails from Leo where, he updates us on how publishing his new book is going. He's trying to, meet with publishers, and he does gives us little updates, and also he sends back his feedback on the book. And the book is about a woman in the library. Shocking. Basically, those four young people, I think they're all in their 20s, which is important. I will get back to this point later. But those four people in their 20s, two women, two men, are in the Boston library, and they hear a scream, and later they find out that a woman was found dead in the library. I feel like that's enough for the synopsis. First things first, I have no idea why those four random people who didn't know each other before they met in the library, why they became friends instantly. You know how there's insta love? Here we have an instant friendship. I understand if they were kids, if they were maybe teenagers, but 20-something-year-olds, literal adults, I don't know if you have the same experience or the same outlook as me, but I feel like it's a lot harder to become friends with other people when you're an adult. So those four people literally become best friends in a few days. Literally 3 days, I think, after the murder, they had a sleepover at the main character's house. Those are strangers. What are you doing, girl? I don't get it. So that makes me so angry. Why are they acting like they've known each other for years? Don't they have other friends in their life? I don't know. Also, this does feel quite melodramatic, and I think that's the point. I'm not sure how to say this, but this is quite meta and quite self-referential, and I actually think this cover isn't really selling that book well. I mean, I love the cover, but I feel like the other book, the UK cover, actually matches the tone of the book better because it is a bit camp, I think. But I actually spent my money on this cover, which was more expensive, and I am a bit upset because I'm not enjoying it. So the only reason why I'm not DNFing it is because I'm petty and I spent so much money on this cover, on this book, and I'm like, no, I have to finish it. But I know, we'll see. My main problem, aside from the like ridiculousness of characters' like relationship with each other, is that I don't like the writing style. I feel like it reads very amateurish, in my opinion, and also just the fact that we get the feedback from Leo, that person who sends the emails, just pulls me out of the story because like I know I'm reading a story, and also the feedback that Leo sends is just like the tip of the iceberg. Like I have so much more critique about the story and about the writing that person isn't really mentioning. Yeah, like for an established author, this story reads like a debut to me. You know what I'm talking about? Like Hannah, who's writing the book within the book. Like it's starting to get confusing. Yeah, just like reactions of characters seem not natural. The writing seems very simplistic. It just... I'm not liking it. Also, I only got... Jesus Christ, it's day 3, by the way. I'm going back to Warsaw today, and I'm only like 60 pages into it. But that being said, I'm also reading something not for this vlog, but I'm reading Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. I am like, over 200 pages into it. So this is also taking some of my reading time. And there should be a separate reading vlog for this book. So if you're interested, that should be coming in the upcoming months, weeks, I don't know. And yeah, I really thought I would be on my second book. I'm going to read a bit more of this, but if I'm still hating it as much as I am right now, I'm going to DNF it. So that's the update. Also, you saw the kittens, right? They're like feral kittens that my grandma has been feeding, and we're thinking of like taking photos of them and trying to get people to adopt them because I don't think they would survive the winter here. And also we had to catch the mom. She's so tiny. I actually thought the mom was one of the kittens. Okay, I had to stop recording because I met my mom, who was on a bike thinking that I was dead in the forest. I'm fine. I don't know where I was, but yeah, we have to catch the mom and get her to the vet to get spayed because she shouldn't have any more kittens. And yeah, okay, that's it. I promised my mom I'm getting back and we should go to some kind of river nearby. Okay, hello friends. I just finished recording an update for my Les Miserables vlog and it was so long and I was about to like jump into the bath, take off my makeup and stuff, and then I remembered I need to update you on the woman in the library because I'm also recording another vlog. So I am halfway through this book, so that's like 130 pages. Yeah. And listen, while I'm still not loving the writing style, I still feel like this is pretty poorly written with pretty like one-dimensional characters. I am kind of hooked on the mystery itself, which isn't surprising because I'm a mystery girly and I like meta things. So when I got about 40% into this book, I finally, like something finally clicked and I was like, you know what? I'm actually interested in this mystery. So I am going to finish it just because I'm stubborn and I like being right. So I'm going to continue just so I can figure out the twists to see if I see the ending coming or not. And yeah, hopefully I will not have a terrible time. There was one thing that positively surprised me about the... how should I explain this? Like the plot with the two writers exchanging emails, not the story within a story. Actually, this book is the story within a story within a story, because first layer is the two writers exchanging emails, and one of the writers is sending, you know, the chapters of the book. The second layer are the chapters of this book. So about the woman in the library, a woman is murdered, for people who were at that library become friends and get involved in various ways. And then the third layer is actually kind of the same story. Basically, the main character, Freddie, from the story The Woman in the Library, is also writing a story. So that's the third layer. She's writing a story, but she's writing a story inspired by the events that happen in her life. It is meta, okay? So the story within a story within a story. No, the story within a story. Yes, the story within a story within a story is the story of the woman in the library, but it's the story that the character of the second layer that is writing. This doesn't make any sense. Okay, why am I even... I really want to explain this well. This is my second try. Okay, first layer, we have two authors exchanging emails. Oh, hello there. Hi. She was like, please stop, no one understands what you're saying. There was one... Can you get your butt out of here? Hello? Girly. What? Can I continue, please? Okay. No? Get down! Get down! Jesus. Why are you like this? Please. No! The first layer, I will start with names. We have Hannah and Leo exchanging emails. The third layer... Please. This was no better. What are you doing? Okay. Okay, I'm going to take off my makeup, take a bath. Basically, I'm finishing this book, and in the next update I will tell you my final thoughts. This was chaotic. That was just silly. And like, not in a fun, campy way, to me at least. Just bad. So it was... Okay, the overall experience was a bit of a roller coaster, because at first I was... sorry if you can hear the fan in the background. It's really hot, so I'm not going to turn it off. Yeah, at first I hated it. I hated it so much that I thought I would give it a 1 star. Then in the middle, yesterday I'm pretty sure I didn't finish my thought, but like in the middle something surprised me, not because the reveal was surprising, but it's just that I was expecting it a lot later. So the fact that it happened in the middle, you know, made me excited to see like in what direction this book would go. and then it went in a very boring direction. Like nothing exciting happened with, like it went where I thought it would go, both regarding the story with the emails and the story within the story. The review when it comes to the story within the story also was quite boring. It was someone I was suspecting and I really hoped it would be someone else, but yeah, but like if my feelings continued kind of how I felt in the beginning, I would give it 1 star, but because I finished it and I wanted to get at the bottom of the mystery, so like there was something that was pulling me towards the end. Like I wanted to finish it to figure out if I was right, so I guess it was doing something right. So I guess it deserves 2 stars. And like, okay, listen, like the meta aspect of it and the kind of the story within the story, it had potential, which is also why I'm inclined to give it 2 stars, which isn't a high rating, but like I don't think it deserves 1 star. But at some point I had this thought that I wished that this book was written by a better writer, like if I'm being honest, because I like the idea, I like the meta aspect of it all, but I don't love where the story ended up going, and like I didn't really like the ending. So I wish the story was written by a better writer, but also someone who would change the ending, and yeah, just this had potential, but it left me quite disappointed. So I really thought I would enjoy a lot of the books. We're not starting very strong. I don't know, I feel like I was feeling hopeful because recently I read You've Lost a Lot of Blood, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, and it also had a very low rating. And also a few weeks ago I read Pizza Girl, which I also really enjoyed, and it also had a pretty low rating on Goodreads. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't agree with the general public, and maybe this is trend and I just like see something in the books that have low ratings. But yeah, not this one. Hopefully the other books will be better. I think I will start with The Disaster Tourist. Yeah, I think I will read Mrs. March last. Also, like, it took me a week to finish this book, and like I was reading every single day, and it's only like 250 pages long, so especially the first half, like each chapter was a struggle. Okay, I'm over it. Tomorrow I'm going to this like really cool coffee shop slash bookstore. These days I'm visiting coffee shops quite frequently because I left my, I'm not sure what it's called. It's not a French press, like the little like machine that I make coffee in, I left it at the cottage, so I can't make my coffee at my house, and I have been like buying my daily coffee at like coffee shops, and good god, it's expensive. So I'm glad I will have my coffee maker thingy back on Monday, because my mom is still at the cottage and she will be back on Monday. So today is Saturday, by the way. This doesn't matter, this vlog will be a lot longer than I anticipated. I thought it would be like 1 week long, but this one book took me 1 week to finish, so yeah. I'm not feeling good about this vlog now. Maybe the general public is right. Yeah, we'll see. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, just wanted to pop in here just for a second, because as always I feel like I didn't explain myself well enough. So what I mean by this book was bad. First of all, the characters, I mean, I previously said like they were pretty one-dimensional, the writing was pretty poorly written, but aside from that, the characters' reactions to things were very, like, they didn't make any sense, felt very unnatural. The main character was, to me, extremely naive, and another thing that was very frustrating was that I felt like no one was asking the right questions. Like, even if the question that I had in mind was asked, the answer was so, like, evasive. What is that the word? Like, it didn't make much sense, but the character that asked the question was like, oh, okay. I'm like, no, follow up, this makes no sense. So yeah, overall, quite a frustrating experience. Yeah, hope that makes more sense. That's all. I just wanted to pop in to explain myself better. Okay, friends, we are on the balcony. It is Saturday. No, it isn't. It's Sunday, and it's the end of the day. The sun is about to set. There's always this vibe to Sunday before you go back to work. I don't know. So, as you saw, today I started The Disaster Tourist by I don't remember who, but I will put it on the screen. I'm only like... I read the first chapter, I'm like 17% into it. I'm reading it on audiobook for script, and actually I am enjoying it so far. I almost regret filming on my balcony because it's always so damn loud. Kids are screaming, but I don't know. I needed a change of scenery. But yeah, I started Disaster Tourist. I'm enjoying it. I'm happy I'm enjoying it because yesterday I was feeling a bit discouraged. Yes, hello? You can't see her, can you? I don't remember what I was talking about. So, I should probably tell you what The Disaster Tourist is about. It's about a woman called Yuna or Yona, I'm not quite sure. And she is working for this travel agency who offer people, you know, going to like destinations where disasters occurred. And she's been working there for 10 years, but something happened, she's not sure what, and she's thinking she's about to get fired, so she like turns in her resignation, and her like boss offers her to go on this trip to one of the destination that this travel agency offers to see if it's still worth like going there. So it's like a work trip, but she's going there as a customer to kind of assess whether they still should be selling this package. So that's where I got. I think she's going to this sinkhole that like no longer is a sinkhole, but it turned into a lake, so I don't know. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. So far the writing is quite simple. I found a lot of like Japanese and Korean literature have a pretty simple writing style. But here I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the kind of, I don't know, social commentary? I'm not sure. Just the topic is very interesting. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. Wanna see my cat? Oh my god. Boże święty! Flora! Flora! She did not want to be on camera, sorry. Okay, this is the end of the update. So, it's been a week, and I haven't really read anything, well, except for... Let me set up. I'm like almost 500 pages into it, but this is for another vlog. And yeah, I don't know what happened. I wasn't in the mindset. Like, I was just like every single day trying to like reach a certain amount of pages with this book. And it's, I don't know, it's not an easy classic in my opinion to read. Also, I've been into working out a bit, so because I'm going on vacation, I've been working out to feel like stronger and just feel better about my body. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but just like mentally I know whether I lose weight or not, like mentally I know I'll feel better. And yeah, no pages were read since like last weekend, because it is with the weekend again. It is Saturday, and the plan is I'm going to finish The Disaster Tourist this weekend, and ideally start Mrs. March. Yes, this is a lot, but I don't think I'm delusional. I'm just manifesting. I feel like this might be like one of the last weekends where we have high temperatures, sun and stuff like that, although it does look like it might rain soon. So yeah, the plan is I'm going to go to the park next to me and read there. So let's go. I should really get going. Hi, so unfortunately this next clip in the first like 30 seconds it doesn't have audio, but I'm pretty sure I'm just starting this clip with saying hi, I'm in Greece. And next I'm probably telling you how this video has no like logical transitions, so you just have to accept that. I don't know what I'm talking about here, but I probably am about to show you the view next, so there's that. That's the sea. And we're back. Actually, can I put you on something? I feel like I'm looking down a lot. No, it's fine. We're along with it. So, I finished The Disaster Tourist a few days ago, but just work has been so busy. Is it just me, or like the few days before you go on a trip are just extremely busy? So like I was busy at work, and also like after work I kept like doing stuff and like tried to finish things up before I went to Greece. So yes, let's address the fact that I am in Greece. Actually, I'm in Rhodos, which you might have heard about this island recently because it was on fire. So I think it's very fitting to be talking about this disaster tourist here. Just so we know, we bought this trip like a few weeks back before the fires happened. We actually contacted the travel agency. I feel like you are too low, but we actually contacted the travel agency to ask if we can like go somewhere else because it doesn't seem like a good idea to be going to Rhodos just after the fires. But they told us we can't, and like the region that we're in wasn't affected by the fires at all. And like, they are correct. It was a bit further from here, but it still feels weird to be here. Okay, let me find something to put the camera on because it feels weird. Okay, hi. I don't know what happened, but there's no audio in this clip that I recorded in Greece. So, I was trying to like read my lips and figure out what I was saying because it's been like, what, 2 weeks since I recorded that clip, and I do not remember what I was talking about. And unfortunately, I'm very bad at reading lips, or I just like don't move my lips when I speak. I don't know which is it, but thankfully I realized that I was glancing down at my phone during that clip, so turns out I did have some notes. So let's go point by point and let's do it quickly because this vlog is very long already. First things first. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. At first, or like in the middle, I felt like the author was trying to do a bit too much, like trying to tackle too many topics. But I actually liked how it ended, and I would say she pulled it off. Like sure, some of the topics could have been explored more, but also I knew it was a novella, or I'm not sure if it's a novella, but it's a very short book, so I wasn't necessarily expecting like a deep dive. And also like looking back at it now, I can tell you that I kept thinking about this book, or like not necessarily the plot, but the topics that this book was trying to tackle, especially about like tourism and what like ethical tourism would be, or like sustainable tourism. I guess the fact that I was on a trip was helping for me to have those kind of questions, and yeah. So I'm just saying, like looking back, it made me think. I think it is a thought-provoking read, which is a really good thing. Second of all, this really isn't a thriller. There was a side plot that gave this book like a thriller edge, but it isn't really a thriller. Next thing, the romance. I felt like the romance was very unnecessary and I didn't really like it, but at the same time, it did have this like meta element to it, which I could appreciate because I could tell that the author was self-aware. So yeah, there's that. Some parts of it felt a bit Kafkaesque, and I'm not sure if my definition what Kafkaesque is the same as everyone else's definition, because I feel like everyone, at least in the States, I think people read The Metamorphosis at school, while we in Poland read The Trial. So I don't know if other people will feel similarly, but it did have this kind of like nightmarish quality to it without like leaning toward like, I don't know, magical realism. And also we do kind of end up in this like maze of bureaucracy, which is a topic that was explored in The Trial. So that's why it kind of reminds me of Kafka's works. Also, at the end, I was kind of trying to figure out why people didn't like this book. So I was looking up on Goodreads people's reviews, and I realized that this book is advertised as, hold on, an eco-thriller with a fierce feminist sensibility, and also engages with the Me Too movement. That's what it's described as. And I just don't think that description does this book any favors, because I don't think this book was trying to be feminist. Like, Yona, the main character, is quite unlikable, which I don't mind, and I feel like she's supposed to be kind of unlikable. I don't know, when it comes to like feminism and like engaging with the Me Too movement, there is at the very beginning this like side plot, like mention of like sexual harassment at work. It's still at the very beginning. I'm not sure, I don't think I mentioned it before, but personally, it made me a bit uncomfortable. Not, I mean, like it should, but also I don't think it was handled that well. But also, like, Yuna, the main character, is quite unlikable, and like calling this a feminist novel, I find that a bit weird. Unless you think like this girl boss gatekeep kind of feminism is feminist, which I don't, then I guess. But yeah, I don't think this book was trying to be feminist. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think this is the fault of the book. I think it's the fault of being mismarketed, because I just don't think this is what the author was trying to do. So yeah, overall, really enjoyed this book. It's actually quite surprising to me that this was published in 2013, because it feels so relevant, you know, reading it in 2013. I would say maybe even more relevant. You know, it raises those kind of questions of like, what would be like sustainable tourism? Well, it doesn't really explore that topic, but at least for me, when I was reading it, I started questioning those things. And it does definitely talk about how tourism influences the kind of local communities. So yeah, very interesting read. Not quite a 5-star, but I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 4 stars. So there's that. Let's go back to the vlog. Hi, I'm coming to you from the hotel. I'm still in Greece. Just wanted to update you because I am like 40% into Mrs. March. I'm listening to it on an audiobook while also kind of reading it simultaneously as an ebook, you know what I mean? And yeah, I feel like I haven't told you the synopsis just yet. So basically we have Mrs. March, who is a wife of George March, who is a pretty famous author. He's like well into his career. He just published a new book and everyone's saying this is like his best one yet. And he is making good money. Mrs. March is quite rich. She also is coming from a like well-off family. Basically, we start off the book when Mrs. March goes into this bakery, and the worker there, she asks Mrs. March like, how does it feel to have a character, like the main character of a book, be like based off of her? And Mrs. March is like, huh? Because the main character of that novel is a prostitute, and basically the story is that she is like, I don't know, ugly and like unlovable, and like no one wants to sleep with her. So Mrs. March is understandably a bit confused, like, what do you mean she's based off of me? And as it turns out, she hasn't really read the book just yet. And yeah, this is where we start off. I have to say, the first part definitely reminded me of Rebecca, with how kind of insecure Mrs. March is as a wife to this like rich intellectual author. Her husband actually was a professor at university, and she overall is very insecure. So in that way it kind of reminded me of Rebecca. And just after I thought about it, a few pages later, like a chapter or two later, the main character is seen reading Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. So not very subtle, but I guess my theory was kind of right, and I feel like we're steering away from Rebecca. And yeah, like this is definitely its own book, like don't get me wrong. Some people compare it to Mrs. Dalloway, I think, and yeah, I guess. I am really enjoying it. I think this is how you should write an unlikable character, because I still see some like glimpses or like some character traits that I kind of relate to, you know, being kind of an anxious, sometimes insecure person. So I feel like some things can feel relatable, but then she will say or do something so like weird and like illogical that I'm like, okay, no, never mind. But yeah, she's unlikable, but she's interesting. Another thing is I find it hard to kind of figure out what the time period of this book is. Like, I think this is set in the second half of the 20th century, but like when exactly, I have no idea. But at the same time, it feels very atmospheric, and I really like the descriptions. So it's weird that it feels kind of suspended in time. And yeah, I'm really enjoying the audiobook. The narrator is just exquisite. I think her name is Elizabeth Rogers. Yeah, she is really doing an excellent job. I feel like the audiobook is the way to go with this book. And yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it, but I've heard some people saying that the second half isn't as good, or like kind of loses its momentum. But yeah, so far so good. Also, something occurred to me. All three of the books that I have read contained like a character that was a writer. Obviously, The Woman in the Library had two writers. The main character was a writer and one of the other characters was a writer. In The Disaster Tourist, there's also actually a writer who plays kind of a big role in the story. And both of those books have this kind of meta quality to it. And obviously in Mrs. March we also have a writer as one of the main characters. So interesting. Writers, the meta quality, the kind of thriller aspect of the book. I feel like I'm reading similar books, but they all feel very different. I will save like my final thoughts about like what connected those books and like how I'm agreeing or disagreeing with the public. I will save that for the end of the video, but that just occurred to me, so wanted to share it. I probably update you when I'm back in Warsaw and I finish the book. So see you sometime. Hi, it is Monday. I came back from Greece on Friday, like late afternoon, and I have to tell you, I have had a very interesting 48 hours. First things first, I have finished Mrs. March, and I actually managed also to read Nothing But Blackened Teeth. I read it today, but before I tell you my feelings about those two books, I just want to mention that if you don't want like listen to kind of a TMI story, skip to this part, but I have had a food poisoning. Like the worst food poisoning of my life. I woke up yesterday on Sunday at 5 a.m. feeling sick. And I pretty much was throwing up for 5 hours. So from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. I think. And after that, I thought I was getting better because I wasn't throwing up. So I managed to sleep for like an hour or something like that. And I woke up and things kind of got worse. Well, I don't know if I wasn't throwing up anymore because there was nothing like in my stomach. There was nothing left there. But I still felt very nauseous and my stomach was hurting. And before, like after I would throw up, I would feel better for a little bit at least. But after I woke up, I was feeling nauseous, I had a stomach ache. I also had at that point, like a low-grade fever. So I would get like hot and cold, I would get like cold sweats, I would be shivering. And yeah, that lasted for a few hours. I think around 1:30 or 2 p.m. I was just like sitting on my bed because I couldn't even lie down. I was feeling so sick, I was in pain, I was so uncomfortable that I would just like sit in bed and like rock back and forth in pain, not being able to do anything because I felt so bad. And at that point my mom came to me and said like, you were getting better before, but now it looks like it's worse, should we maybe go to the ER? And at first I was saying no, because rightfully so, I was thinking like, first of all, what are they going to do in the ER? It's just food poisoning. But also, like, I'm feeling so bad And if I go to the ER, I would have to wait in line for hours before like a doctor would see me. Like just thinking about that, I started crying actually. I said like, no way, like I don't think I can move. So my mom said okay, but she stayed with me. We tried like all the like home remedies and some like over-the-counter medication, but like nothing was helping. And at some point, like I was so miserable, my mom asked me again like, should we go to the ER? And at that point I started feeling, I don't know, it wasn't exactly like muscle aches, because I read online that when you have food poisoning you can get like muscle aches, but it was different. It was like numbness in my, like here and in my cuffs, and tingling. And the moment I started having that, I was like, okay, this is really weird. So we've decided to go to the ER, and actually on my way there, like in the car, my brain started working, because like before I was so like out of it, and I started thinking like the tingling and the numbness, it was like that feeling when you sit on your foot for too long, and then like you have this like numbness, or like even like this like pressure on that part of your body, and then it starts to tingle. It was the same feeling, and I started thinking, isn't it because I was throwing up so much? So like when you have food poisoning, they tell you to like drink a lot of water and like electrolytes to like replenish your body. So I'm thinking I lost so many like minerals in my body, like potassium and like magnesium, that yeah, this is why my body was acting this way when it comes to like the muscles. But we were already on our way, so yeah, we went to DR. Obviously there was a line there. My mom was like, no, there's not going to be a line. There was a line. But first we went to this like, I don't know, registration desk or whatever, and there I had to like list all of my symptoms, and the lady there said, like, first of all, she wasn't sure if I should be in the ER at all, and she was like, okay, so if you wait here in the ER in that line, it's going to be hours before like a doctor can see you, but actually we have this like other place, like in the hospital, but like in a different part of the building, there's like just a regular GP. And actually the reason why we didn't go to the GP was because it was Sunday, so like doctors' offices are closed on Sunday in Poland at least. So yes, she said that they have this place where there's a GP. He's there for like night shifts and during holidays. And first I was like, it's not night and it's not a holiday. But then she answered, yeah, but it's a Sunday. So like basically in Poland everything's closed on Sunday, so it's like treated like holiday. So we were like, okay, that sounds good. If there's going to be less of a line there and there's just a regular GP that can prescribe medication, let's go there. And the lady at the reception desk was right, because we went there and there was just one person before me, and at the ER there were so many people there. So yet again, I went to the registration desk there. I listed all of my symptoms. I'm telling you the listing of my symptoms for a reason. Just wait for it. So, with the help of my mom, because I was just there like dying, my fever and like nausea and everything, my mom was helping me to tell the story. So yeah, finally I got to the GP, and basically I forgot to tell him about the like muscles because it would be the third time I was like listing all of my symptoms. So I forgot to tell him about the muscles, but I think it was just, you know, the lack of minerals, so it's fine. And yeah, he examined me. I got an anti-nausea shot in the butt. I've never gotten like a shot in my bum before, but it wasn't painful. And yeah, I got a bunch of medication, and basically he said, okay, so if those medication don't work, or if your symptoms get worse in the next 10 to 12 hours, go to the ER. But thankfully the medication worked. We went home, the injection worked, so I wasn't feeling nauseous. I took the meds that he prescribed, and I improved so much that I could take another nap. And after I took that nap, I woke up feeling a lot better. I wasn't in pain anymore. So yeah, everything is fine. I did spike a fever in the evening. It was like pretty high, like 39 degrees Celsius. I don't know how many degrees that is Fahrenheit. 102 maybe. So that was a bit concerning, but today I woke up feeling a lot better. I'm still not able to eat anything normal, like I have to eat the blandest of foods. I'm just a bit tired. I get a bit nauseous after eating even the bland food. I get a bit nauseous, but at least I'm not throwing up, so I'm feeling a lot better. So let's get back to books. On Saturday I actually finished Mrs. March, and yeah, I was going to update you on Sunday, but that did not happen. And today, on Monday, I actually listened to Nothing But Blackened Teeth. So, Mrs. March first. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. It wasn't quite a 5-star. You know, some 5 stars have this like feeling of a 5-star. This one didn't, but I still think this is an excellent book. Especially an excellent debut. Like, I didn't know this was this author's first book. And it was shocking to me because this is so well written. The ending wasn't necessarily surprising, but I just don't think it was supposed to be. Like, I think this book suffers from mismarketing because sometimes it is marketed as a thriller, and I just don't think that it is. I've heard some descriptions saying this is like a literary psychological suspense, and I feel like that does fit this book better. So yeah, you're not going to get like crazy twists and turns. You're just going to get this fascinating portrayal of this woman's mind. And yeah, I had a great time. On the other hand, I did not have a great time with Nothing But Blackened Teeth. Yeah, I listened to that book on audiobook. It was like 2-3 hours long, and thank God it was that short because otherwise I would probably DNF it. It is about those 5 friends. I'm saying friends in like quotation marks because it makes no sense why those people are friends, because they all kind of dislike each other and are mean to each other. So yeah, those 5 friends go to this mansion in Japan, and it's supposedly haunted, and 2 of those friends want to get married there. And shockingly, there is actually a ghost. Yeah, this book was so overwritten. Like, let me tell you, Cassandra had the thesaurus open in her tab at all times because there were so many words where I was like, why would you use that one? It was so overwritten. The characters, we kind of meet them at the mansion and we get no background around them. So I'm just like, why should I care about your well-being or you as a person at all, as a character? And yeah, even though it's a horror story, I feel like most of the time we were talking about those friends' like relationships with each other because they, I don't know, all dated at some point. I don't know, I don't get it. So there was so much drama, and only at the end there were some like horror elements. And yeah, I don't want to give this book 1 star because interestingly this book also had this like breaking of a 4th wall, or like this like meta element to it, and the author was playing with the like horror tropes a bit, which normally I really like. I feel like I like it, I like the intention, I just don't think it was done that well. Like in the hands of a better author I would enjoy it a lot more. So you know, I liked what she was trying to do, she just didn't do it well, you know? So yeah, I'm going to give it 2 stars and leave it at that. So, oh my god, there's so many clothes here. Sorry, ignore it. Should I wrap this vlog up here or like wait until the evening when I look a bit less disheveled? No, let's do it now. Okay, overall we had 2 2-stars, 1 4-star and 1 4.5 star. The thing that's very interesting is that 3 out of 4 of those books had some kind of like meta element to it. So I do see how that could be kind of divisive, even though that probably wasn't the only reason why people didn't like it. But yeah, I feel like this kind of meta element and like books that are hard to categorize when it comes to like genre, they can be mismarketed and then people would come with the wrong expectations for the book. So what I'm saying is the low rating doesn't always reflect the quality of a book. Sometimes it's just wrong expectations, which, you know, isn't anything revolutionary, but that's what I've learned. It's interesting that also 3 out of 4 of those books were thrillers, and they were all kind of, well, one was like, when it comes to The Woman in the Library, it was like a mystery thriller. The Disaster Tourist was, oh, I don't know, like literary fiction thriller. And Mrs. March was also like literary fiction thriller / literary psychological suspense. So yeah, I can see why people would pick up those books because of the advertisements that they are thrillers would be disappointed. But also those books had their own problems. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I feel like this vlog is going to be very, very long, so if you stick out until the end, comment a star because you deserve a star. You are a star. Maybe I still have a bit of a fever. Hope you enjoyed this video. I feel like it ended up okay, like I've had some doubts, but I also read some really great books, so you know, it's kind of a gamble with low star ratings. You can love it, you can hate it. I'm going to continue reading books with low ratings and kind of see for myself what I think about them. So yeah, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!